Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer Podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am joined with a couple of my crazy family members, Scott and Heath Anderson, father-son duo. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me, Katy Ray.
They're sharing a mic this time around, and I'm loving it because we don't want anybody getting a concussion in the middle of this episode. But this is my stepdad and my stepbrother. Family blended when we were, I think I was 14. So, Heath, you were 6?
Yeah, I was a youngin'.
Math is hard. He's the math guy. I just can't do this.
Yeah, you got to carry the one on that, Katy.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think it's amazing just to chat with them. I love that Scotty wooed my mom. Thanks, Scotty, for being there.
I was saving all of you.
We appreciate you so much. But I do feel like people don't realize, one memory might close down a little bit, like from my dad. My dad's still fully involved, but like I think blended families are some of the most amazing things, and our family is so insane and unique, and I love that you are my family now. Even though Heath sometimes looks like me, I remember putting up your like high school picture, and people were like, "Wow, your brother looks exactly like you." I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, we're both really good looking. Like that's quite a problem.
That's what I understand. I was like, image. I get it. But and then Scotty kind of just, you have 2 daughters and a son, and then gaining 3 more daughters and another son at older ages was probably like, shit, I'm gonna have a big headache after this.
It was interesting dynamics because your mother and I were more worried about you, the kids, and how this would all work out as opposed to us, when in reality, you guys just came together quickly. You had big brothers, big sisters, little brothers, little sisters that you never had. So all our worry was kind of in vain. It's been a work in progress over the last 20 years, but it's been enjoyable. And it is, from the outside looking in, it's kind of crazy. Your dad and Byron are great. Everybody gets along. Mm-hmm. And that makes it so much easier to go through everything.
Yeah, and it was, to piggyback off of Dad's point, it was, in recollecting on it, it was really seamless, honestly, and it shows that kind of family extends beyond bloodline, because obviously we came from different walks of life, but just to kind of inherit just like a built-in support system with all of these siblings, all of these life experiences. We were a bit different in age, but that mentorship and just being able to rely on that support system at such a young age, especially when some of the upbringing was turbulent. It's just a blessing in disguise. It reads like a movie script, honestly, just how everything worked out.
And I didn't realize, because I was a baby of 4, being an older sibling takes it's a big responsibility, like shit.
You didn't ask for it. Yeah, I just showed up.
I was like, I do hood rat stuff, and these kids are watching me all the time now. Shit. Oh, no. These guys are going to follow some shitty footsteps. I got to get my shit together.
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely raised the stakes. That's for sure.
I know, and it's so funny when people are like, I'm like, yeah, it's my little brother. And then I'm like, shit, he was as little as my 6-year-old son now.
Yeah, time really flies. Right?
And I call you for advice now, and I'm like, who is this guy? Am I going to call Jaden in 10 years? Just happened.
Yeah, it's definitely a 2-way street, but that's what makes it special. Yeah, it's like we're as close as we were from day one. So, it's been quite a journey, that's for sure.
I love it.
And I want to give your mom some props here, too. I know she's been a guest, but she came along at a great time in my life. Neither one of us were looking for another relationship at the time. Nor were we looking for somebody to help each other raise their children. But it just kind of happened, and it continues to grow. And your mom's kind of been the glue of everything, just between the 2 families and making sure. She could have easily walked away. She'd raised 4 children. They were teenagers, and now she took on 2, a 7 and 5-year-old, and did a great job along the way.
5.
Yeah.
They got married when you were 6.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. But Katie, I know you could attest. Like, we definitely thrive on dysfunction, right? So it's like it's it's not never a dull moment at Sophie Anderson household. If it is quiet, there's something wrong. So it's been loud ever since I can remember for all the right reasons.
And I like that we could get into fights and we're just like, you were dumb that day.
Yeah,
you were dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't like you. And I just want to tell you where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
and that's it.
With any sibling rivalry, there's alliances, that are made and broken throughout time and history. And we're just one big, crazy, happy family.
And I think giving people hope for blended families when they're scared. And you made a perfect point, Scotty. Like, you guys were worried about it. But for us, it was like, why not grow to a bigger family? I mean, like, what is the big deal? And of course, I was hesitant with you at first. But you were so good about, I'm not here to replace your dad, but here's a little quick advice. And then you would make me feel like shit for some of my decisions, but it was smart and it taught me. But it was smart. But I take those like lessons now and I'm like, shit, that was something that helped me grow as a person. Like, through all of the things, I did not make great decisions in certain times, but I am so thankful for all of that, like, wisdom. Because I wouldn't let mom talk a lot when I was a teenager. I was like, stop talking to me. And so you just come in with a little slick, just so you know, those friends are not going to be around and we are. And I was like, whatever, I'm going out. I can't even believe you would do that to me. And then later I'm like, shit, he was so right. Those people sucked so bad. So thanks for that.
Yeah, if you'd had your podcast back then, it would be called Not a Great Decision Maker.
Oh man, coming in hot.
Wait, are we roasting me?
No, it's been a pleasure, and it still is. And with some blended families, one of the parents may or may not be involved. In your case, your dad's always been there, so he's somebody you can lean on for advice. I've never tried to be that person. I've been there if you asked anything.
Oh, yeah.
Or any of the kids. But, you're very blessed to have your mom and dad still in your life at this point.
No, yeah. And that's what you had to take, is really just coming in like, okay, but I love having you and dad. And you guys have both respected each other. So it shows, I think, just such a great example of just owning what your responsibility is, but being there as like a backbone still. So it's like, I have my dads to go to for different things.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is.
And you have Mr. Frank.
Sentence.
And you have Mr. Frank.
I have Mr. Frank who, you can't make it up. A great influence on my life. And it's just, it's funny how life works. And to give you props, Katie Ray, you've kind of instilled like the values that were passed down to you onto your kids. So it is awesome how like generational those things are, and like in a time where adversity happened, and we it was kind of a toss-up in terms of what the next steps were for things to work out as well as they did, and for life to be better for kind of kids down the road. It's a ripple effect, and I think it all worked out in the best way.
And it's from our examples, right?
Absolutely.
So I apologize if I was the first person you smoked weed with. I want to throw that out there.
We just did it in the parking lot. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Well, yeah.
I'm apologizing in advance.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Mom, the cupboard was always empty. The Sophie Anderson house.
Cheez-Its were the best. Scotty ate the Oreos. Had nothing to do with our weed.
Yeah,
he just eats Oreos.
He just really likes Oreos.
He just loves Oreos. He goes, what? But I know it's so funny too to laugh about, because it's so funny to have conversations with our parents now. And that's like an amazing example. Like, we see great examples of work ethic. Scotty working 90 hours a week, helping everybody. My dad working 90 hours a week at an insane, you guys are only 45, so we get it. But like, I feel like that's instilled in us, but we have a little bit of a different generation of thinking of, you guys have been so loyal to your companies for so long, right? And then we're coming at you with like this new idea. I'm like, hey, I'm going to start this podcast. It's not going to make any money. We're just going to do this. And you're probably like, that sounds great, but don't you want to put some effort into making money? Like, so it's hard for you to kind of embrace that. And I feel like as parents, you kind of have, especially with Heath, smart as shit, numbers, business oriented, like coming in at you hot all the time. So you guys probably like have these conversations where you're like, what? But like, how do you feel about that? Like, our generation, like what? But you've instilled work ethic in us, which is amazing.
Well, the one thing that I've always tried to do is continue to evolve and learn. and things change. And podcasts and those kind of things weren't around when we started working a long time ago. People of our generation, I think a lot of us felt that the walls would fall down if we didn't come to work every day and things. There's a much better blend of work and life balance right now. And that's what I encourage my employees to do, not to get totally wrapped up in their job or define themselves as their job. But I think to continue to grow and learn from the people around you and have passion for what you do is how I try to live each day. And I've tried to pass that on to those around me. So people run with it or they don't. But if you're just doing something to do it and spending all that time and energy, it's really not worth it. You need to find something that you really, really are passionate about. Like you're passionate about these podcasts and learning and growing from these. And Heath's just starting his career in the financial world, and it's all ahead of him. So it's going to change probably dramatically in the time that he works, and he'll evolve into different aspects of a CPA or financial analyst that he may not know exist right now.
Isn't it cool to see though?
Oh yeah, it's wonderful, and all the kids to see how all of you have evolved and grown, and now you're parents. And
what the hell's
we've
that
lived
about?
long enough to say there is a God when your kids are shitty to you. but everybody in this family's done a great job of. Everyone in this family's done a great job of supporting each other, and y'all have great kids.
Yeah.
It's fun.
When your kids are shitty to you. But how's that, Heath? So like, I know how strong your guys' relationship is. So you're coming at a man that you've watched work his ass off. For other people, for himself, you know, I know he loves what he does. I mean, he knows everybody every time we walk out of any building. So
that's for sure.
But like, how does that feel when you're like throwing it out there and you have to like show someone the big picture? I feel like you love educating. So it's like, no, Dad, it's like, we got different options. Like,
yeah, that's a great question. I think that's like kind of just a macro trend that's going around everywhere. You know, my dad is obviously probably a little bit older than most dads growing up, and so we did kind of have that generational rift.
He's 108 today. He looks great.
Yeah, he was born. Yeah, it's like Great Depression type stuff. but yeah, some things it's hard to delineate sometimes. You know, what's like great advice versus what's just like the change of the times. And to Dad's point, and to the question you brought up, Katy, like I kind of miss. I'm like nostalgic for a time that I never really lived in, you know, valuing like the continuity with an employer and just staying with one company for 50, 60 years. And like my dad's the most loyal employee that I know. And, you know, he goes through a lot of adversity with his work for a bigger game plan. It's just about fulfillment and just seeing things through to the end for him. So that is something that I try to grapple with. But at the end of the day, it's just a completely different market where employees just have a lot more leverage. People kind of bounce around 2 to 3 years per jobs, and they're able to kind of parlay their experience with multiple opportunities. But yeah, it's hard to find employers that are as loyal as they were. You know, long gone are the days where you just work on the assembly line at Ford for 50 years and got a gold chain at the end of it. But, you know, you see that ripple effect everywhere, like in the NBA, player empowerment era, and like employees using leverage to make the most out of their salary and stuff. So I think that it's somewhere in the middle. But I definitely see your guys' point on just how the millennials have kind of changed the workforce and just the economy at whole.
I know, and I feel like for our parents' generation, it's kind of seeing the ridiculous people that are trying to be like a YouTube sensation in a day. To
Absolutely.
Make their $1 million, and then us coming at them like, "Hey, no, we want to be an entrepreneur." Yeah, and they're like, "But did you just see that ridiculous video?"
It is.
It's like,
crazy.
no, I don't want that. Damn it!
Right.
Damn you, people that are giving us a bad name, trying to make something of ourselves.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, and it's like you know, the dollars sometimes they leave as quick as they came in, right? So it's like, what's the you know, the longevity of a career and just like doing something in the moment versus like sacrificing or making less money up front to have things pay off in the long run. But yeah, there's definitely an entitlement issue, I think, with our age and just instant gratification. I think technology accentuates that a lot too, where you just want things right away. And so there's a constant frustration that I see a lot in the workplace with, you know, coworkers and peers leaving as soon as a hint of adversity comes across the table. So it's definitely going on.
That's what sucks too. Since Heath and I are the same age.
Yeah,
I'll take his age.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just round down.
But I'm just like that. So from IT marketing, but from Tesla, from the cannabis industry, it's just turning into people. I mean, profit over people is really hard for me, but also like not valuing your employees is even harder. But even like I have the work ethic, like I'm going to get the job done, but it's like, is this what I wanted to right now? Like I'm going to finish my job, but like, is this what really I'm supposed to be doing right now? And then you like talk to your parents and like, yeah, because it's your job. So I've taken that and I'm like, okay, I will do my job. And then my passion, I will not put the pressure of finances on my passion. And then I will do that. And then hopefully one day my passion will then I'll be a YouTube sensation.
Point A to point B, just like you planned it. Yeah.
It's a good plan.
I think one of the dynamics that's changed is loyalty. In the older generations, there was a lot of loyalty between the company you worked for and the employee, a lot of more smaller businesses. Now we're coming back to small businesses, but the profit angle, the job turnover has really changed things. So there's not as much loyalty each direction. I think the younger generation, it's been proven they are going to jump job to job quicker than we did. Whether that's good or bad is to be determined. But, you have to make a livable wage. You want to have that balance, as we talked about, between your work life and your business life. And you want to grow. So it's going to be interesting to see where all of you wind up in the next 15, 20 years, balancing your families with your work and, leaving time for each other and so forth. So we're very blessed. Your mom and I just sit back and watch. There's a whole bunch of you, and every day is different. So
a whole bunch of you.
It's a lot of fun.
I just send selfies to Heath so he remembers what I look like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm on the weekly subscription.
He's on the 80
package.
hours a week thing where I get my response to my text 3 days
I save
later.
everyone.
It's fine. But I also think it's fun to watch that, even though Scotty did say we treated them shitty, but with love. I would like to add that, but with love. And during those times, to see us now and the way we communicate and just the bond that we've shared, it has to feel a little bit rewarding on a parent's end, just to see like, oh, okay, those times they were really shitty. Like they're actually good humans now. And that's like my only goal. So the times where my children, I'm like, why are you so mean? Like, what is happening? Or I could be like, wait a second, this might be rewarding later. Right? Maybe.
And you guys were just ordinary kids, and we all make mistakes. And as adults, we look back too now, especially at age 70 and rounding third base, heading home here. Could I have done things better? Could I have been a better parent? Could I have done things, in a better way to help my kids? And at the end of the day, I think I did the very best I could. And I'm very blessed that all of you have turned out as well as you have. And you're still finding out what you want to do in your 30s, late 20s. You're finding your direction. Some of your siblings have got a specific career that they've jumped into, and others are finding their way. So it's really fun to sit and watch. Your mom and I talk about it a lot, and we're very blessed. And we're very blessed to have the grandkids in our life and be a part of that. So we're at that point where we sit back, and if you ask for advice, we'll be there, but you're living your own lives, your best lives. Isn't that the saying these days? But you're
hashtag blessed as well.
You're doing a great job with your kids, and it's a blessing to see all this unfold in front of us. We all do brain dead things from time to time that we say, why did I do that? Why did I say that? But that's life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or like, why did I do that as I'm, getting put into a cop car? I mean, but that's fine.
Yeah. How did we end up here?
And it's fun. Yes, we're laughing about it now. It's not a good time then. But I like to laugh about it now because I feel like I'm not that person. So to be able to be like, wow, do you guys remember that horrible time where I put the family through hell? Oh, yeah. You remember that? Well, we can laugh about it now and just be like, I don't look like a felon, but I am across the table. But it's crazy to me to know that and then realize all the support I have that is still here and still loves me. And that's why I always ask, like, how you guys sit back and you're like, our kids are crazy, but we sure do love them.
Yeah, and Katy, I mean, that's a great point too. And to turn the table is like, because I think you brought up a great point. You know, despite that nobody asks for, like, wants, you know, that level of adversity, do you feel like that kind of laid the foundation for who you are today in terms of just perspectives on life and just knowing what not to do, but even to a bigger point, you know, just it seems like, I don't know, like a rose kind of grew from the concrete in that sense. And I think that you changed your life in the best way possible, but it is interesting how you were able to turn a negative into a positive. I'm just wondering if that had, like, you know, a positive influence in the long run. Just, you know, despite that temporary speed bump.
I do. I actually am thankful for all those crazy experiences because it opened my mind to other experiences, just like Scotty working in some of the hardest schools. Like, you open your eyes to, like, other families and what other families go through. Where me, I'm just like, I don't judge anybody when I first meet them. If your character sucks, I'll judge you later. But I'm like, no, that's fine. Like, you had a bad past. Like, that happens, but how have you grown from it? Like, you know, it can't define you. And I feel like I connect with more people than they would expect me connecting with.
Yeah, that's really well put. It's,
and my kids aren't going to get away with shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, I know all the nooks and crannies. Like, I've been there. Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's and to attest, you are the least judgmental person I've met because you've been to all these different places and wow, that's a pretty insightful response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna strip. My kids are gonna get patted down every time they leave the house. Scotty and Mom didn't know to do that. They're like, we never did shitty stuff.
Metal detector.
Have you implanted those chips in them yet?
No.
I think one thing that's really neat about all of your kids as well to watch is you have great friends. You have friends that have been with you through good and bad since high school, and it's really fun to watch the close friendships and families that we interact with. You know, we seem to get them all at holidays. The ones have nowhere to go, but they're like family, and it's fun as a parent to see your kids have healthy relationships and you know, a lot of good friends.
Good support.
Now, you pick up friends like people pick up stray dogs, but
she's good at that.
Hey,
but you know what? These people become great friends of ours along the way. So
how dare you? We get all of their vaccines when they come in. But you're right. I do, but I connect with people quickly, and I see really good judge of character. And now we're at an age where, like, we all, like, share friends. Like, my friends up north with Heath, they're going hiking. Like, you know, it's just like we're at an age where this was this kid who was probably like, your friends are hot. And now he's like, no, these are like my friends now.
Yeah. And I still think they're hot. So,
so just so you know, just throwing that out.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, one of the benefits of social media and technology, like you said, is being able to connect with such a broad audience and such a diverse group of people. And to, you know, to press a button to have your podcast be streamed to thousands, I think is awesome. And like you said, you can cross paths with people that you would have never thought you would in towns way over that didn't have that capacity back then.
Oh, I love, like, connecting people, like cool people. So of course I'm bringing cool people to the house, my stray dogs. I like to say dogs, not cats. I'm not a big fan. But you're right with that. A new generation. They're like, didn't we meet her last year? I was like, no, this is a new person. No, this is my other friend. But yeah, I feel like to have a family, you can do that where I've met friends where they're like, oh, no, we never brought anyone to the house. And I was just, like, confused. I'm like, really? Like, what?
Yeah, and it's so funny. Dad and I were talking about a similar subject yesterday, but we had next door neighbors move in, and they have yet to stop by and introduce themselves. So, I mean, like, yeah, it's like, it is mind-boggling. I mean, some of it's a change of the times, but because the household we grew up in was very open-door policy, and, like, you were reprimanded if you didn't invite friends or, you know, introduce everyone to the family, it is just kind of a head-scratcher to see that dynamic not played out in other families, or just have people kind of closed off. In my opinion, you're just not making the most of life if you, you know, say kind of a closed circuit in that sense.
Yeah, the only time I didn't introduce people is when I get out of the car and there just be like a cloud of smoke. They didn't come in. They didn't come in the house.
Yeah,
I just went into my room.
Just did a couple laps around the block to air it out.
I didn't introduce you to those people. It's respect.
That's what sunroofs are for.
But I think open communication is really big, and just our family dysfunctional dynamic, because we just all have so many different views. But that's what I love about you, both of your dynamics, is because you guys have such intellectual conversations where sometimes I walk out of the middle of it. There's so many big words, but where you guys go to each other for advice, but your views are different, but they're not, because Heath is taking Scotty's experience and Scotty becomes more open-minded. Like when Heath explains, because he's really good at explaining things, where I would just be like, no, I'm going to do it. Why? I don't know. I'm just going to do it. But Heath like gives you like a layout because he's like an Excel sheet. But I love that dynamic of you two, of father, son. Like you can be the closest of closest and maybe check in twice a week because you're both working ridiculous hours. But you still like are on top of like where you are. Do you ever see like other father, son relationships and you feel bad that they don't have that? Or like you're just like, you guys realize like your dad's experienced a shit ton more. Why don't you just ask him? Like stuff like that. Scotty?
Yeah, I've seen that, talking to kids, because I'm around the high school kids a lot in my job, and a lot of them have no parental guidance. The school is the only place where they have discipline or structure, and I feel so bad for these people. No one comes to their games. No one supports them on a daily basis, so you wonder how they make it. And we're like any family. I was probably tough on Heath and Olivia because I didn't want them to feel sorry for themselves or skate on anything. I mean, you went to school whether you were sick or you broke your arm or whatever, but
your kneecap's fine over there on that side. Just go into school.
But I tried to instill some discipline there because I knew that nobody's going to give it to you in life. You got to earn things. I think we're both grinders. We like intellectual pursuits, and we'll follow through to figure out how things work or how things go about, stuff like that. But I've never, ever thought I was the smartest guy in the room. And I've tried to pass that on to Heath. It's just listen and learn and grow. But yeah, one of those things you think back that what could you have done different? I was probably tough on them, tougher than I should have been, because they turned out fine. It's just that's the way I felt I should parent. And when your mother came along into the dynamic here, I didn't marry her to raise my children. I didn't marry her to, do this all over again. This was something she wanted to do. So we had a dynamic there of talking about parenting and the best way to do things. And, you all were still teenagers or in your early 20s. So she was dealing with another mindset there of, your actions and things like that. So it's been a fun ride, and it still is a fun ride. And now we see it through the eyes of the grandkids too. So
you nailed it. I like Heath and Olivia. They're good. I love them both. What do you think though, when you would go to high school, and I mean, you have a very diverse high school, and being an athlete, like just being around and just being like, oh shit, my dad's fully involved.
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, Dad can attest. Like, I definitely took the scenic route, I think, in appreciating, like, all of the values instilled. Yeah, like, I mean, I think certain appreciation for that is inaccessible. Like, if you're in high school, all the things he told me ended up being true in life. It just took me a while to realize it. And also knowing that it was a special circumstance with him. Like, I don't think, to your point, Katy, I don't think every kid gets to experience like a mentor and a disciplinarian like my dad in just the day-to-day life. I mean, I'm sure the community of Clearwater can attest as well, but a lot of people go to my dad for advice and for help and guidance. And I just had that in a daily household experience. So over time, you just start to develop certain skill sets in life that you don't even realize that you're obtaining. But then when I went off into college and into the workforce, I just realized how important and valuable a lot of those old school, work ethics and skill sets mattered. I mean, it's just, it is crazy how time flies and you just appreciate that more. but I wouldn't have it any other way in hindsight because it's kind of built to last. And like Dad said, we're grinders. But one of the values I most appreciate in my dad is his altruism. I mean, he helps people out and doesn't ask for things in return. And you rarely find that, right? It's like, especially in business, it's very Machiavellian. It's very, what have you done for me lately? And there has to be, a mutual benefit. I don't really come across a lot of people who just do nice things just for the sake of being nice. And to kind of put that into my work as much as I can is something that I give them all the credit for.
Mm-hmm. You're totally right with that too. That's so hard to find.
And we had so much fun in the high school years when Heath evolved and found a passion playing football. We wanted to be supportive of her. And even your mom got involved. Now, she became our water girl, but because she has a college degree, with props to my mentor, Jay Shoup, she became our rehydration engineer for the football team. But she got to be involved with Heath's growth because as teenagers, they've got their own life. They're in and out of the house like an airport. And so you don't always get to interact with them, but she'd get to see him. And we didn't bother him at practice, but she got to be involved with his life at his senior year and high school, knowing that he was going to go far away to college and we wouldn't see him on a daily basis, like you were at USF or others were at St. Pete College or closer on. So that part was a lot of fun. Without meddling in his life.
Yeah,
you
were still a part of it. Yeah, rehydration specialist. I made sure to just be over the bridge so someone could bail me out. I don't want to be a couple states away. It'd take too long. But I think you're right. So as a parent, like you kind of molded them when they get older to try to be a part of it. Because again, everyone tells me your kids aren't going to even say goodbye to you when they leave. And I was like, I feel like I always say goodbye, right? Don't you feel like you say goodbye?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I was like, I don't think I was that kid. I said goodbye quickly, but I mean, it was running out of the house. Yeah. And I was like, how dare you? But you're right. I think that's great. And he did go far away. Is that a hint to us?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is quality over quantity, but I mean, you guys even I moved to middle of nowhere, Midwest, and you guys still took a trip up every year to see me and support me kind of a world away, which I think is a testament to how strong our family bond is as well. But yeah, it's been quite a journey. Still living in Boston. You guys are as supportive as you have been since day one. So it is crazy, wherever you go, even though it's more brief and in passing, that we get to connect and have fun conversations like this. You guys are still kind of in my corner, and I hope the feeling's mutual.
Oh, well.
And we always have a place for the kids. We love having everyone home, and you and Chris and the kids came for 1 month and stayed for 14, and but it was a blessing to have you there every day. And, the door's always open.
He basically raised my kids for 14.
But
that was rude.
Yeah. He's still looking for his rent money.
But, no, it's in the mail.
Yeah, we've got Heath's room set up like a hotel with a
luggage carrier.
Yeah, and, there was Scandinavian immigrants there yesterday. It was an Airbnb. So, I mean, they're monetizing. I fully support it, but it's kind of awkward.
But they love it, they say.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was a 3-month. It turned into, how dare you, 11 extra months. We didn't sign a lease, so it's fine. We didn't breach a contract. Yes, and that was super hard for grandparents, and I noticed that, disciplining my mom, they would run to her as their counsel to try to get out of something they did. But it was fun, and when I look back at pictures, how much fun they were having. I mean, not everyone gets that. I mean, Chris was with his grandma his whole life, so he got that dynamic. But for me, we didn't have that. We moved from Buffalo, so I didn't even have my grandparents that close when I was 5. So I love watching the dynamic. Sometimes I'm like, okay, guys, Scotty, it's not time for WrestleMania right now. Mom, can you stop defending Jaden? And let's go. Okay. But I think it gives you energy, just like they say dogs make your life last longer, bring out a longevity that you never saw. I feel like grandkids do that. Because Scotty gets this crazy energy I've never seen. And he's flipping the kids. He's deadlifting them, and I'm like, what are you doing right now?
Absolutely. And even mom, I mean, she hobbles around like a retired offensive lineman, but when the grandkids come in, you know, she's like Hulk Hogan off the top ropes. I mean, she's very energetic.
Like there's gymnastics routines going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Hulk Hogan off the top ropes.
Yeah, it's night and day. Her ACL is fully mended.
Hashtag Hogan's best. Hogan knows best. Yeah, you're totally right. It's just like, wow, where'd you guys get that energy? And then when they leave, they're like, I'm tired. I gotta go. And I'm just like, you were just like on the ground building a freaking castle, and now you're just like, I can't do this anymore. It's just like, what's happening? I love it. How do you feel about that, Scotty?
I'm growing older, but not up. I'm just a big jungle gym when the grandkids are around. It's so much fun, and there's new ideas, the things they come out with, the ideas, and just watching life through their eyes. But yeah, when we had you and Chris and the kids there, it was a blessing. We felt bad trying to give you space and privacy. It wasn't an intrusion on us at all. We really enjoyed it.
I know, you guys are great.
Yeah, and I to that point of that environment too, Katie, I know, like, you know as well as anybody, your kids have an imagination with the capital I. Like, I mean, more than most. It's amazing to see and let you guys kind of play that imagination out. I'm kind of jealous that us old adults like don't get to have that creativity anymore. We're kind of boxed in, but yeah, kind of in that grandparents atmosphere, they're able to let their minds run wild, and it's I mean, it's a blank canvas. I mean, they just they go all over the place.
Well, the funny thing is now is that one of our grandchildren, Jude, his biggest thing that he wants to do now is collect Pokemon cards. And now this is coming back
like
around
Pogs.
because we went through that with Heath at about age 8 or 9 when they were popular. So
Pokemon?
yeah,
Absolutely.
I was Pogs.
yeah.
What?
Remember
what
those
is-
Pogs?
No.
So
Is that before or after Care Bears?
After asshole.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Before or after Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Okay. Just trying to get my bearings.
But yeah, and you're just like, what the hell is this, Heath?
yeah.
I
Well,
didn't
Heath
know it was
went through
Pokemon.
his My Little Pony stage, so we had
Dad,
to get through that.
you weren't supposed to bring that up.
Dad, that was sacred.
Yeah, that
Goes
was
to the grave,
that was
Dad.
last week.
We just started giving those away.
Yeah, one thing I'm bummed out about, total side note, Dad, I tried to monetize my Pokemon cards. They go for a good $1 on the market, and I think they're in the landfill somewhere.
Beanie Babies.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is that
that's
Beanie
true
Baby
too.
times
Yeah.
too? Pokemon and Beanie Baby
Oh,
time?
it's the new Beanie Babies. Yeah, you can pay your mortgage with the
No.
with the Pokemon card.
Do you guys not remember Pogs?
I have no idea. Is that a thing? Dude.
Pog's a thing, and your mom still has her pet rock and her chia pet, I think. so.
Yeah.
How rude.
Yeah.
I like this though. I like bringing back the good old days. I know there was this funny meme that was like, why are 14-year-olds learning how to contour their makeup? Go get your glitter and your shitty blush and put it on. This is tradition. Like, how dare you learn how to do your makeup? Because I was like, yeah, my like blue eyeliner I would wear for a little bit. Like things like, it's like bullshit. Like, you have to go through that awkward stage. It's not, you can't be contour. I don't even know how to do makeup. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's not fair. Everyone needs their awkward stage. It's important.
100%. I'm still going through mine.
I'm glad you're growing. So what's some of your advice to my 1 billion listeners? I know you said 1,000, but I'm pretty sure I'm at 1 billion. Some of your advice about just relationships, family, and work ethic. I think both of you are like perfect examples of all of them. I mean, you came in youngest with some crazy bitches. I mean, to be honest, we're all crazy. So you came in as the youngest, so just like that view of the world at 5. And then just like hood rat shit you did in high school to now, like just kind of finding your way. And then Scotty, I want you to roast us after Heath's done. Just basically.
Oh, that's quite a segue. Yeah, it's that's a great question. I think on the family piece, for me, it's just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I mean, it wasn't easy, in the kind of assimilating with the family, just because people in general are reluctant to change. So I think just keeping an open mind and also not letting one argument or one fight kind of dictate the rest of the relationship, I think is huge. I think one of our redeeming qualities is forgiveness, definitely within the family, being able to see the forest from the trees and know the dynamic. It's not just about one person. It's just the adhesive that of everyone involved. Just life in general. I'm gonna rip a page out of my dad's playbook, but he'd always taught me growing up that you meet the same people on the way up as you meet on the way down. And I absolutely love that quote. I think with, just work, family, friends, just being just compassionate in the moment. And, like we said, not expecting anything in return, but also just knowing that humility has to underlie all that you do, because, you could be on top of the world one day and rock bottom the next. And so the people that you treat along the way and the support system that you cultivate really is what matters at the end. And I think family is everything behind that. So
That's awesome. I love that. Thank you, Scotty. He took all the words out of your mouth. How dare you, son?
Great stuff. No, I alluded to at the beginning of the podcast is I think people need to find their kind of direction and passion, and it comes later to some rather than others. There's such pressure on kids to go to college and grow, and you need to educationally need to grow. But some people are going to be tradesmen or tradeswomen and not all go to college and get that college degree and in marketing or finance or whatever like that. So find what you're good at, find what you love to do, and find mentors, find good mentors in your life to help you get there. And they may be family members, but they may be teachers, professors, instructors, different places like that. So find that. Always be passionate about what you do. Just don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And if something doesn't work, well, go to plan B and that. But always have a good support group. As Heath said, you need those people around you, because life is going to be up and down, and there'll be things thrown your way that curves that you'll need help with. And that's where having the large family like we do as we grow now, to bounce things off of, to have a lot of fun. We laugh a lot when we're together. When you leave, we talk about you, but that's okay. But social media has changed things. There's instant conversation,
debate.
But now the focus for all of us is watching their cousins grow, and nieces and nephews grow, and people, and be involved in their life and try to be a mentor for them and pay it forward, if you will. That's just always been one of my mother was like that. She instilled that in me, is, do something for someone else, pay it forward. She was always that type of woman, and kind of helped shape me in that direction. So that's it. And again, you make mistakes, move on. Don't dwell on them. Don't let them be such negative thoughts that you can't go forward in the next day, the next month.
You definitely are living the pay it forward. Heath, were you going to add to that? I feel like you were doing that.
No, I was just violently in agreement.
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
Like,
Didn't want to. I didn't want to
like
interrupt.
a Busta Rhymes video. Yeah, just
got it.
No, I think that's really well put. I mean, that kind of encapsulates like
pay it forward
the sentiment. Yeah,
and I think you're a perfect example of that. I mean, Jaden thought you lived at Clearwater High for a while. He said Pop Lives there. He's always
yeah. He just comes home.
He's like, "That's right. We got to go see Pop. He lives there." So I do love that, and you're totally right. Find good mentors, like good ones, and there's so many out there. You mentor so many people, and to give that time, I think that definitely was something I learned from you. Is I like to connect good people with other good people, not asking for anything. Like, I'm not out to like, oh no, this has to benefit me, because I just like good energy people, and just like being here in Ybor at BK and Creative. Like, these are good people who are now like family to me,
right? With
the Roosters in the background, but
right.
It's just like you can find people later on in your life.
Absolutely. And the best kept secret about that is like, it's good for business too. Like if you have
people
around you that don't need anything in exchange, you just collaborate and you just work well and the energy's right. I mean, it's a positive sum game. You're not losing anything in that process.
I know. I love that. Just our conversations have changed over the years from like, how am I going to pay off probation to more like, what's my next job idea?
No, that's so true. Like, but Katy, that's like, I mean, that's an awesome thought, though. Like, it's forward-looking as opposed to looking in the past.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I mean, like we talked about, that stuff's like a bedrock, and you learn from it. But now you're planning ahead instead of trying to fix the past. So that's...
Yeah, and they say with, like, partner, like your spouse, you need to grow together. But I feel like in every relationship, sibling relationship, father-daughter relationship, like, I feel like in every relationship, you're growing together somehow. Because, Scotty, I think you take this every day as you learn something new still. Even though you're smart as shit and you do crossword puzzles I can't do. But, like, you still learn every day.
Well, I do. My typical day, there might be talk about politics. Then somebody's talking about Young Jeezy. And then somebody's talking about Paw Patrol. So it just depends on where I'm at with the kids.
Did you just shout out Jeezy?
Wow.
Did he just shout out
I just try to learn who these people are.
I'm impressed.
Super proud of you.
Thug Motivation 101.
First of all, that got me through a lot of
wow. Yeah.
the recession.
That is quite the throwback.
This is a great
and
album.
He threw in Paw Patrol in the same sense. That's never been muttered by another human being.
I love that. We're going to hashtag Young Jeezy in this too. But I love that. So I'm so glad. I have two of my blessings across the table with me. My stepdad and my stepbrother. And it's the perfect example of you might not be blood, but family's family in the end. And I absolutely love that you guys joined us today, especially because Heath just flew in for 10 hours ago, maybe. But he flew in just for this. He's going home.
Yeah, I'm on the way back to the airport.
But thank you for joining and your words of wisdom from both of you. I like that you quote your dad, but now it's yours. You just took it over. It's fine. It's fine. It's
yeah, put in quotations. I I heard that from
It's mine now. Yeah, I heard it from some guy. But thank you. Is there any last words for my viewers, my million viewers?
Not from me, other than to just say thank you, Katy, for having us on. I mean, this is excellent. We feel like we've been podcasting our whole life, just talking. So, now we just have a mic in front of us, but we really appreciate it. We fully love and support what you're doing. We think it's awesome. And the energy that these episodes have is it's inspiring. I know it's cliche, but I definitely mean it. And we got your back every step of the way.
Love you.
Thank you for having us on, Katy. We're very proud of what you've become, the woman, the mother. Soon to have a third child that we can't wait to get. Jasmine gets here. But all your siblings, all the kids, and the relationship and how we continue to grow. As I said, this is 20 years now, and looking forward to the next 20 and seeing what it holds.
How dare you? I'm only 20 years old. How dare you tell the audience it's been 20 years? All right. So you'll find us on Not a Great Whisperer podcast page on Instagram, at The Real K-Ray. We're at BKN Creative Studios in Ybor. And you will see Scotty and Heath on my page and all of their handles because they're just huge on social media and marketing. And at katyray.com. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
know
Katy.
it was a fun time. And enjoy our father-son episode.